my friends, and welcome to this edition of Off Base. It's your girl, Lauren Gardner, LG Red, here alongside Xavier Scruggs.
Yo.
Let's go, my friend. The season is wearing on. We have some surprise storylines, including one we're about to get into, but also City Connects being released.
Yeah.
How about this Rocky City Connect that I'm rocking?
I was kind of trying to figure out the colors, but obviously the purple because of the natural purple color.
Traditional Rockies
right?
purple.
But then what do we got like almost a peach and a...
Yeah, it's like a peach sunset sunrise, and this is iconic Rocky Mountain sunset. And then, of course, obviously you get the sunrise in the east, which is the plains, which leads to Kansas. I am from Denver, so very familiar with, in my opinion, what is the most iconic and beautiful sunset in the continental US. So yeah, it's I think it's fantastic. So kudos to the Rockies and whoever designed these things. They did a great job.
It reminds me of the Padres, like going outside of those typical colors as well, but also incorporating the weather aspect of things. To,
exactly, yeah.
know.
And I guess the sunsets in San Diego are okay if you're into that kind of thing. You know, beaches, sun reflecting off the water, all that fun stuff. If you're listening on the podcast, you're going to have to look these up because these things are absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend you go out and get one. By the way, first pullover City Connect ever, so no buttons.
Yeah, where's the buttons?
No buttons. You don't need them.
Dang,
Pullover.
That's the first one, too?
Thank you.
I feel like
know.
there should be others like that.
You know, we're real trailblazers in the Centennial State.
Oh, are you?
So at least what we tell ourselves. So now to check out what's been moving the needle. And I feel like they were listening to the last podcast because you said the next person that needed an extension was one, Vlad Jr. I remember talking to Ross Atkins, even John Schneider about this at Media Days down in the Grapefruit League. And they were like, we don't know. You tell us when it's getting done. Well, apparently, here we are because Vlad Jr., 14 years, $500 million extension begins next season. We're going to get to that signing bonus here in a second because good for him and his agent, especially since he resides in Florida in the offseason. Full no trade, third highest value in MLB history.
Go get the bag, right? Like, first and foremost, congrats to Vladdy and Toronto. I look at this as a sign of almost commitment of excellence to me, right? Like, I love this for Toronto, but also this idea that, you know, we can't just have Vladdy. Now we got to add the pieces around to make sure that this is something sustainable as far as winning for a long period of time to come. So I think I enjoy this because more than anything, it's like, they're committed to going out there and finding ways to win games moving forward. And Vladdy is the biggest part of it, right? Like, you think of somebody that from a young standpoint, being able to prove what he's already proven, but there's so much more to come with him. And that's a big chunk of change, but it's somebody that's proven worth it.
He's a Canadian citizen. Obviously, the connection to his dad, connection to the city of Toronto, the fact that he will be there for the remainder of his career is so special, not just for him and for the organization, but more importantly for the fans. And that fan base is an entire country, an entire continent.
They need that.
They need that. That is their dude they can rally around. So I love to see that. Let's talk about the perks here. We mentioned those there earlier. The full no trade. The bonuses for MVP, All-Star, Gold Glove, all that fun stuff. I like this hotel suite on the road, 4 seats for all home games. Just kind of luxury suite for all games. Squeeze me, work that into the deal. I'm so here for that.
Gotta be comfortable on the road.
You 100% need to be comfortable on the road. If you had to work in a perk, obviously we talked about the signing bonus, which is incredible, especially since it's spread out over the course of the 14-year deal and won't be taxed in the state of Florida. Aside from that, what would you throw in on the deal?
Man, that's a good question. I think I'm looking at one of my favorite places when I think about going up there, Tim Hortons, right? Like I'm all the donuts. What do they call?
Tidbits.
Tidbits, yes. I'm like all about those things. Like maybe it's all you can eat whenever you need it, like free supply anytime. Because not only would it be for me, unlimited, not only for me, but for my team, right? Like, so I can always bring them in. Day game on Sunday, I'm bringing the donuts. Like, everybody, let's go. And coffee too, right? Like, you can't have the donuts without the coffee. Are you double or single guy? Triple. So it's like double milk, double sugar. No, I'm pretty much take it easy. No sugar, no milk. Wow. Maybe sometimes some sugar. Guy. Good for you. Because I'll dunk it in. I'll dunk the donut in the coffee. So it's like the sugar is making it happen. I like a little bit of coffee with my milk and sugar. That's how I roll. So I'm all about that double life. It doesn't even look brown at all. No, it's not at all milk. I live at Tim Hortons when I'm north of the border. I guess if I had to throw a perk in, we're also going down. Yeah, what are you thinking? We're staying in like the culinary space here because I'm basically always hungry at 6.5 months pregnant.
We're going with a poutine franchise. Ooh. What's more Canadian than just a good plate of poutine? That's what Vlad wants. He wants some cheese curds, a little bit of gravy, some French fries. It's going to be named after him. Like Vladdy's poutine. You're welcome, Vladdy. If you open this thing, we'll be expecting royalties on this.
The marketing.
I love it. Those are good perks. I mean, aside from that, his agent missed out on a couple of things: unlimited Tim Hortons and, of course, a poutine franchise. Maybe that can be negotiated later on in the deal.
Toronto fans are like, why does he need anything else?
He's fine. We're taking care of your man. He got his bag. He's a franchise player, and he will be there for the remainder of his career. I feel like him and his agent have Juan Soto to thank for this deal, who kind of paved the way. Who is Vladdy paving the way for in this free agency class?
I think, where does the sky's the limit for Kyle Tucker at this point, right?
I think so. What does that number start with?
I think it might start with the 5 now, too.
Wow.
Honestly, because it's funny because I was actually talking to his agent, Jason Romano, a couple years ago, and they're talking about, and hopefully I could use this, but hopefully they're talking about he might be a $300 million player, kind of throwing that out there.
That was a lot.
At that time, man, that is a lot for Kyle Tucker.
We thought 5 was a lot for Soto.
But a couple of things. He's proven to be one of the most consistent players in baseball.
Yep.
All 5 tools. You could argue he's more of an all-around player than a Soto, than a Vladdy. So Kyle Tucker, his number might start with 5 and go beyond Vladdy's numbers. Maybe not the years, but definitely beyond the number we saw with Vladdy.
Do you think the age difference matters? It's 2 years, so Tucker's deal will begin at age 28.
Yeah. No, it definitely matters.
Soto's same.
It definitely matters, but he may not get the same amount of years, but collectively, he might get more than $500 million.
I mean, I think Tucker is a complete player, and it would be awesome to see the Cubs take advantage of this and extend him.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a statement move.
He's not going to.
Not just by the organization.
But he can't because at this point, he's looking at what Vladdy's done. He's like, I got to go to free agency. I have to see what's even out. I can always go back to the Cubs, but I got to go out and let people bid on me. Because it could be, could be a team like Toronto who still looks like they might have flexibility,
You're right? Talk about a statement. The AL East could get really interesting if the Jays go out and get Kyle Tucker in the offseason.
But there's other teams, I think about the Nationals, too, that'll be a team willing to spend at some point, too.
They have a lot of great young talent, especially in that pipeline. So, Nationals up and coming. Speaking of the NL East, the Mets ended up with their boy Pete Alonso.
Yes.
In addition to Juan Soto here this offseason, he has an opt-out clause after this year.
Yeah.
He's been playing really well at the start of the season. What do you think Vlad's deal means for Polar Bear?
I think it helps him, too. I don't feel like he's still stuck in that same box that he had last offseason. I feel like it's a guy that needed to show some adjustments, needed to show more consistency, and then, hey, I might be looking at some type of bag like that. But it may not be what Vladdy is because he's younger, right? Or
he's younger,
Vladdy's younger.
He's like the face of a franchise. But I feel like Alonso's body of work over the course of his career with the Mets has been really solid.
Yes.
And he's also meant a lot to the franchise. It was kind of interesting. I was surprised when he went out and tested the waters that there wasn't more of an appetite for him.
Yeah, I think just maybe this was an idea that, hey, this is a guy that seemed to be committed to New York from the jump, right? And I think that might have been a detriment to his free agency a little bit, just because it seemed like that was solely the place he wanted to be. If you remember, Alex Bregman, after his last game, was like, thank you to the fans, immediately tweeted that out. Immediately, he's like, yo, if there's anything I'm going to put out there, it's like, I'm willing to look for other opportunities. And I don't think that was the same for Pete Alonso.
That's a really good point. Don't tell Altuve that, though.
No, he didn't.
Once they got bounced, he was like, no, my man needs to stay here. Obviously, he's up in Boston. By the way, we know what Alonso settled for, but it's age 30 season, so he has that. I understand what he's doing there, but as a first baseman, I think now the market has completely changed for that position with what Vlad has done. Do you think this is an outlier for first baseman, or do you think now, guys in that position will be getting their bag? We know Bryce Harper moved over there, but Bryce Harper's Bryce Harper. I think he's his own individual case as well.
I think it's different for right-handed guys too. It's something about it, and it's all the idea that you're already at first base. You almost feel like they're stuck because today's such a versatile game, right?
Look what Tucker can do, right?
Yes, guys that can play multiple positions, guys that can do a lot of different things, get more of the opportunity to bring in more money.
Yeah,
that was the conversation about Vladdy this offseason too. It's like, hey, what can we expect? How can we expect him to age You know, like guys sometimes don't age the right way that you expected. And we're seeing these long deals not pay out towards the end, right?
That's
when
true.
guys are like 37,
You're
38,
basically
39.
paying for like the first 3 years.
Yes.
And by the way, Pete Alonso hasn't missed a game in 2 seasons. That has to be worth something.
The consistency is huge. Yeah, to me, it does. Because you have a guy out there that's giving his body on a day-to-day basis that affects everybody else.
And by the way, he wants to participate in the home run derby year in and year out.
And do deadlifts in the middle of the rounds. Who's doing that?
That's like that's old man strength. I know he's not an old man, but isn't that like the definition?
That's just showing off.
It really is.
Like when you got the video camera down in the weight room.
And those rounds are exhausting. You watch those guys and they're gassed when they leave a round.
Yes.
I don't know. I absolutely love it. Congratulations to Vladdy, and more importantly, the Blue Jays fan base.
Yeah.
This is so
Give
well
them
deserved.
something positive, right?
Yes, because we were starting to see this window close, and we're like, what's happening? Was that it? And apparently it was not. And, you know, Ross Atkins and, you know, his agent, they got it done, and I'm sure Schneider's happy to have that just kind of behind them.
Yeah.
As is Vladdy, because that's a distraction, whether you say it is or not.
Yeah.
So I love to see it. And I can't wait to see how this division shakes out, especially over the course of the next 5, 10 years, the duration of this contract, and just to see how he holds up. All right, speaking of the AL East, we
got more?
We were talking about, you know, the team known as the Baby Birds back in the day. Well, this team, they're becoming the mature birds. You're going to break down Jackson Holliday after this.
Let's go.
He's modeling a swing after Ohtani.
Hey.
Love it.
Jackson Holliday digs in. Holliday, high fly ball, center field. Lucas watches it leave the yard. Jackson Holliday to deep center field. His first homer of the season. The Orioles now have 7 dingers on the campaign.
Opposite field take to the big part of the field.
All right, here we go. Get out your number 2 pencils because it is time for a little bit of extra credit. We are talking Jackson Holliday with the Baby Birds and the Orioles. You know what? He was a huge prospect, #1 pick out of high school in 2022. Just 21 years old now. Doesn't turn 22 until December, but he struggled last season. I remember we were so excited about his debut. Hit just 189 over 60 games, was designated for assignment, which kind of made sense. But you're going to tell us why adjusting to the bigs isn't as easy as we all think it might be.
No, and you know I love adjustments. Like I love guys that are making adjustments, and I can visually see them working. But this is a different type of thing because the Orioles need offense. Like they're pitching, they're already, you know, hurt. They need guys to step up offensively and score a lot of runs throughout the course of this season. An important piece will be Jackson Holliday to me. We have to remember he's still 21 years old, but I like the idea of already some of the adjustments I've seen him make. I want to go back to 2024 because the one issue with me is he had a high leg kick, and I talked to him this offseason, or this spring training actually, about him making the adjustment of trying to lower the leg kick and figure out what he wanted to do with it. A lot of pitches beat him, right? Like it was the fastball, but it was a lot of off speed as well. If you look, you can see him kind of chasing pitches down and away, not really committing to one side of the plate or not, but a lot of that had to do with timing. And then this year, even early, right? One of the first series against Toronto, doing a good job of just picking up the heel and putting it back down, almost a little toe tap in his game now. And to me, I appreciate the idea that, okay, let me simplify things. As a hitter, especially a young hitter, I've got to figure out at the big league level, how do I simplify things? He does a good job, changeup off of Walker right there, being able to stay back on a pitch because he's using that as a timing mechanism now to where he can keep his upper body in a good position to hit. Lower body as well, not drifting. And I want you to see kind of the difference here as we circle the foot. Look how much higher on the leg kick in 2024.
Massive.
And then 2025, it's just pick it up and put it down. Where did he get it from?
Excuse me.
He told me he got it from Shohei Ohtani, just watching him do his pick up the heel, put it back down. And what it is almost like a little brake, like a car brake. You're picking it up. Okay, if I don't need to use it yet, I'll put the heel back down. I let the ball continue to travel. So for me, it's this idea that we're going to need more offense. Where is it going to come from? It might come from Jackson Holliday, who's still 21 years old, but making those adjustments to be that much better. We've seen him stay away from chase, be able to hit pitches harder. I like the idea that we're seeing those better discernments as to what he's doing approach-wise at the plate.
I love that he looked to Ohtani, because if you're going to look to anyone, I would say three-time MVP would probably be the guy. We've seen this happen a couple of times, though, and, you know, even at like the little league level with, you know, if you're younger and you're watching this, or if you have kids who play, I think there's a lot to take away from this. So with the bigger leg kick, it seems like you're already committed, right?
Yeah.
And that's happening almost during the delivery. So can you just kind of break down like how that can, the smaller motion can like minimize that room for error?
Yes, well, what it does is it makes sure you're getting started on time. With the leg kick, you know, and there's nothing wrong with the leg kick, but with the leg kick, you have to be on time and almost perfect every single time. And when you put the front foot down, sometimes your hips and your upper body can start leaking forward, which already gets you out of a good position to hit.
Especially for someone that's off speed, right? Like,
exactly, and that's what we saw him chasing a lot of off speed or in the video. So now it's an idea that, okay, let me not try to be too aggressive with that front foot and almost just keep my same posture. That's what a lot of hitting is making sure your posture is right, making sure your balance is right.
Yeah.
He's found something this offseason, and I'm sure it came from working a lot with his dad, Matt Holliday, who I got to play with the Cardinals. But just trying to figure out which way I can be most consistent. Yeah, and that maybe come to a point to where he goes back to it, but now he's comfortable in the area in which he's with. It hasn't been all roses, right? He's going to go through his ups and downs, but it's an adjustment I see him working through that's already paid some dividends earlier on, right? And that's the thing too, is as a hitter, you have to learn how to trust it, right? Like everything we do.
And do you lose power?
No, you don't necessarily lose power, but you might start to feel it. Okay, I need to get back to just being short, compact, and then, okay, now I start to develop the power. Maybe now I start to take a chance, 3-1, try to go to the pull side a little bit more. So it's almost about trusting it, letting it play in the game, but then knowing that you're going to go through ups and downs, and it's not like, hey, I'm just going to throw this out of the window.
Stick to the process.
Right,
like
you
said,
stick to the process,
yeah.
Exactly. That's what I do here with you. We stick to the process.
Sometimes it gets bumpy, but you stick to the process.
We go through our ups and downs.
We got to ride the wave. By the way, this isn't the last you've seen of the Holidays. Ethan Holliday, #1 draft prospect this season. When we come back, you heard about the cell phone policy with the Angels. I'm going to tell you why this policy is going to lead them to the postseason for the first time in over 10 years. More to come off base after this. Yes, it's an oldie but a goodie. It is time for the LG Red Alert, and I'm bringing you a red hot take. So according to Mike Trout and Zach Neto, the Angels' cell phone policy X, it works. The Halos are off to a surprising start, and in my opinion, Mike Trout's club has what it takes to go the distance. Now, hear me out here. Not only to make the postseason for the first time in over a decade, but to win the AL West. I'm telling you this. LA won their first 4 series in 2025. Don't sleep on that. It took them until late May to do so the last season. And with a great mix of young talent, new savvy vets like Tim Anderson, Travis d'Arnaud, and Kyle Hendricks, this team seems to be balanced for the first time in a long time. And with the Astros looking like a very different club this year, the division X is up for grabs.
I don't know about all that. I think it sounded good. It sounded good, LG. But I think the one issue is we've only played a couple weeks of the season.
Mike Trout, healthy in right field. You have guys that can change the game with just one swing. Okay. I literally was just texting with Bo Porter, who's their first base coach, and guess what he also brought up?
What did he say?
The fact that Ron Washington, the veteran coach, very experienced players love him. He knows how to win. He's done it before. They're in their second full season. So now that culture has been installed. Yeah. So they have the young guys. They were able to help handpick some of those vets. And by the way, have you ever heard of Kenley Jansen? Probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He's in their bullpen as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, early on, it's been good. I love what I've seen. You mentioned the word culture. Like, we don't give that enough credit, right? Because we care about statistics and numbers and all that stuff. But I had a chance to talk to Ron Washington during spring training, and he talked a lot about the culture of his team. And one of the reasons why he'd had the cell phone ban is because he wants to create the right culture with his team and make sure that these young players who are playing well as we speak, Kyron Paris, oh my goodness.
And Zach Neto's not even back.
Exactly.
Wait until he returns to the lineup.
No, I think all your points are right.
I feel like you're just making my argument for me.
Am I right now?
Okay, well, tell me. I mean, over the Astros, different team
Like,
this
yeah,
year.
I don't want to disrespect the
over
other
the
teams.
Mariners. I know the A's are, going to do A's things this year. Like, I know there are other teams in the mix. Of course, the Rangers might be the favorite to win the division.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they're going to get into the postseason. So give them a wild card spot.
Well, first you said they're going to win the AL West, though.
I said they have a chance. I said they will get into the playoffs.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, I like your points. And it's hard to argue kind of what they're capable of doing, especially under the helm of Ron Washington. Mike Trout, he can carry a team too, right?
He really can. Put on your fan hat. How badly do we want and need to see Mike Trout back in the postseason?
100%. Like, I think that's what everybody wants.
It's unfair as a baseball fan. We need to see him back in the playoffs.
Because he can do so much, right? And, like, he's electric as anybody else in this game, too. So I think as long as he's healthy, but also their pitching staff, everybody has to stay healthy. That's a big thing for them.
I mean, I guess that's like the number one question with any team. And then assuming
but their depth
they do,
is so young specifically for them.
Yes.
That's why.
Okay, they stay healthy. They stay at this level. They make some big moves at the deadline. The Angels could be one of the biggest surprises of this 2025 season. There's a reason why.
You can talk somebody into anything.
There's a reason why they call this a Red Alert hot take. That does it for this edition of Off Base. For X, I'm LG. Catch us on MLB Network, MLB.tv, and YouTube. Bye.